the time of the dead. And what must be done since it is the time of the dead? That they should be judged and should give or be given reward unto the prophets. It is time. The resurrection of the dead brings about the closing up of a world. The resurrection of the dead brings about justice for the righteous that has lived in a world of unrighteousness under an unjust ruler for the past 6,000 years. Now, what must be done at this time? The dead must speak, given knowledge of the truth of God and of the truth of God, that they may be able to take a departure from falsehood into truth. What must be done for this dead man? He must be washed and cleansed of the old world, the death of ignorancy that he has slept in for the past 6,000 years. Wake him up. Put him on a new garment of righteousness. Put him on a clean garment. Give him a clean heart and a clean thought, thinkings. Put him to thinking of clean and righteous things. For he was dead. And while he was dead, he thought over the unrighteous things, and he committed the crime which the unrighteous committed. For he was dead to the knowledge of himself and to the knowledge of the true God of justice and truth. He was dead to the knowledge of those who deceived him. Now, what must be done? He must be dressed up into righteousness. He must be taught of righteousness. He must be taught how to distinguish between right and wrong. What must be done? He must be prepared to meet his God. He must be prepared to now do for himself. He must be prepared to go for self and kind. He must be prepared now to build the world himself. He must be taught the way of wisdom and be guided by supreme wisdom of this world, a wisdom that is greater and is supreme over what he has learned and what he went to sleep under and what he practiced under and what he worshiped under while he was dead. The time of the dead. The time of the original people that was brought into the Western Hemisphere 400 years ago by a stranger, by people that was not his own kind, to be made merchandise of. and to be destroyed of the knowledge of self, and even those who brought him into a strange world. What must be done? He must be awakened. He's in a strange world. His eyes must come open. The spiritual eye. He must see the people as they are. He must see himself as he really is. He must be awakened. Spiritual awakened. No one has been able to awaken him for the past 400 years. 6,000 years over the whole world of black mankind. Pardon me, I shouldn't say black mankind, because he's not a kind. He's the original man, and therefore he have no one to be a kind of, because he's the first and he's the last. Therefore he can't be referred to as kind. So a slip of the tongue makes an error and a mistake in representing him as kind. What must be done? It is the time that the dead should be risen and be rewarded. They should be judged with justice. Justify them of what? They must be justified as being the members of the aboriginal people of the earth, the black nation. He must be justified as being a member of God. He must be justified as being one that was in the creation of the earth with his God, his Father, is the original creator of the earth. He must know these things by resurrecting him, teaching him the truth that he has not known. Give him the truth. Let him go free of falsehood. He must be judged and judged righteously. What must be done now with this man? He must be returned to that in which he came from, his people, his God, his religion. He don't know his God. He don't know his religion. He don't know his own people. He don't have love for his God now, for the true religion of God. And he don't have love for himself nor his own people. What must be done? Since he don't know himself now, since he won't come to the knowledge of himself, since he won't accept his own kind as his own kind, since he don't want to leave those who kill him of the knowledge of self, what must be done? He must be whipped into submission. God must treat him as a father treats his disobedient sons and daughters. He must chastise them, since they are absolutely so proud of being in the depth of ignorancy and falsehood, that he must be whipped out of it and brought into the knowledge of the truth, of the true God, and of his just judgment. He must be whipped into submission, because the God of truth, the God of justice, is angry who has destroyed him and wishes to punish them according to their work of evil. But they can't be punished with carrying the dead along with them who are dead to the knowledge of justice and truth. They must come to the knowledge of justice and truth. Therefore, the God of justice, who judges with justice both the righteous and the wicked, he must bring them into the knowledge of himself, that he's present and he's angry with such world who has not ruled by the law of justice and has destroyed the nations of the earth, has warred with the people of earth ever since that they had authorities to rule the people. They do not judge the nation according to justice. Therefore, God is angry. His wrath has come. The time of the dead, angry both the nations and God himself. At the rise of the dead, or at the time of the rise of the dead, the nations is angry. Why should the nation be angry at the rise of the dead? Because that as long as the dead remain dead, they remain living and ruling the dead. But if the dead awakens, and they being guilty of putting them to death, then they lose their power to rule the dead. This they see and they are angry. So the justice and the cause of justice by the God of justice angers them and depriving them of their world to rule. But it is the time of the dead that they should be judged with justice. We, the so-called Negro, the lost and found, members of our nation, God has come to judge us and to give to us justice according to our place in the nation. Justify us as being one of the members of the aboriginal people of the earth, one of the members of the originator of the earth, and that we should take to ourselves the power to rule our own self and our own kind. Take to the power to do for self as our fathers did for self before the creation of this world. Time, the time of the dead, time of the mentally dead so-called Negroes in North America, that they should come to the knowledge of truth, and that they should stand upright for truth and justice. Time that they separate themselves from those who has destroyed them mentally. Time that they should understand that they should do something now for self. Time to begin a world or a government for themselves, as other nations has done. For they have no more here help from this world for it is the time and ending of this world. Therefore, God, the God of justice and the judge of the world, both the wicked and the righteous, that he will not permit their rule longer, because the nation of righteous are too happy that they have come to the end of their time, that they want accept extensions of time for the world of evil and unrighteousness. For they has been burdened with carrying a burden of unrighteousness, carrying the evildoers all their life. Now, the time of the dead, that they should be risen. They should come to the knowledge of the truth. Time that they should separate themselves from such evil world that they are now in. Go back to their own God. Go back and join up, unite with their own people, which has been put in many parables of the Bible, that the prodigal son must be returned. He must go home. That the lost sheep must be found. The American so-called Negro is that lost sheep. And be restored to its fold. They must be stripped of the name of the wicked that they has followed and has now become one under their name. They are now being called by the names of the wicked, which does not have any place with God at all. For it's written that the name of the wicked will be destroyed. They shall not live. The name shall not live. Their works shall not live. It is written in this book, the Bible. Destroy all of their works. Burn it up along with the wicked. And their name goes from the people and from the face of the earth. For it was not the name of God. They did not go in the name of God. They went in the name of his creatures, his creation, but not in the name of the Creator, which consists of 100 names. Allah make up that 100. 99 attributes that make up his whole name, Allah, which means he's all in all, the God of righteousness and truth and justice, love and mercy. We must have one of these names of God. The Bible teaches us that without the name of God we cannot see the hereafter. All other names goes for nothing and is classified as being the enemies of God's name, the enemy of God himself. The name does not mean anything of righteous, nor even of wisdom, understanding, nor anything in the way of justice. A people called, think over it, fish, birds, bugs, hogs, snakes, everything but a name of God shows and testifies to the truth that they have not a good name. These names, the so-called American Negro is now being called and answering by. Since he is now in the time that he should be risen from a mental death and be separated from those who has murdered and destroyed him, he must now not be answering to the names of the murderer, to the wicked, to those who have robbed and spoiled. Therefore the nation who has robbed and spoiled the black man is angry. And the God of justice and truth is angry with that nation, our nation, who has robbed and spoiled his people. He is angry. So the time that we are living in today is the time of the dead. As you see, and as I see, the works of Almighty God going on is to destroy this world and is to give justice unto those whom this world has destroyed. The American so-called Negro. The time and what must be done. We must return to our own. We must do for self. We must rebuild self. We must rebuild the earth and its people after the judgment of the wicked. The time of the dead is now.